It was really one of those roles that like it doesn't happen often, but you're like, I know how to play this. I have three brothers, so this being about a girl searching for her missing brother was really easy for me to connect to that right away. Grief and longing and obsession and kind of spirals out of control. And I'm excited that everyone is going to get to see it on the big screen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to welcome Miranda MacDougall to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Stephanie. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited to talk to you. You've got a new movie coming out in a couple of days, Hunting Matthew Nichols. And when that kind of fell onto my radar a few months ago, I definitely wanted an opportunity to talk with you about it. Most people that follow my account will recognize you as Edie Martell from When Calls the Heart. So we will definitely squeeze in some When Calls the Heart conversation. But this is a big deal, and I am so intrigued by this project because, for one, I've tried to figure it out. And I've watched so many behind the scenes, we'll say, you're calling in behind the scenes YouTube videos. I'm watching even another one last night, and I'm like, okay, is this Miranda talking or is this Tara talking? And I have so many questions. So everybody that's following along right now, Hunting Matthew Nichols comes out in a couple of days. You play Tara Nichols. Tell us a little bit about this. It's not a horror movie, it's more of like a documentary type. And why do we need to go see this movie? Because I'm thoroughly intrigued.
Okay, well, I'm glad that the intrigue is alive and well. It's working. This is an interesting film in that it's kind of a true crime thriller documentary, which is really a mockumentary.
Yeah.
So we're trying to draw people in to create this world in which we are filmmakers making a documentary about a missing persons case. That missing person happens to be my fictional brother, Matthew Nichols. I play a character named Tara Nichols. The film that we are making within the film is directed by Markian Tarasiuk, and he is also a well-known and beloved Hallmark actor as well. And he also directs the real film that we are making. So there's a lot of like meta theatricality happening here. Um, there there are some scary elements to the film that do take place in the last 15 minutes or so, but for the most part, the film is a true crime thriller. It explores grief and it explores investigating a case that was left, largely unanswered. It has some supernatural elements. It has some, Vancouver Islandy spooky elements to it. So I will say that if you are averse to horror, close your eyes for the last 10 or 15 minutes. But it's really the only horrific thing is in the last maybe like 2 minutes of the film. Um, so if that's not quite your jam, then maybe close your eyes. But for the most part, I think it's a really well done and really well executed examination of grief and longing and obsession. And I'm excited that everyone is going to get to see it on the big screen in a theater.
And this is a big deal because you would consider this an indie movie, but
Hmm.
it's in over 1,000 theaters. I know. Even is that just the US? I know I've saw 1,000 theaters at least. That's a big deal.
It is a huge deal, and we're all so proud of it. This is something, I think because the genres were there were so many genres to file this film under. I think it made it a little intimidating for distributors and didn't really know where it would sit and if it deserved, I guess, a theatrical distribution and a wide audience. But the filmmakers, I'm lucky enough to be an EP on the project as well. We all really believed that this was something that should be seen in a theater, and we really want to support more independent films making their way to theaters, and the theater going experience is so important. Um, so it's happening, as you said, over 1,000 screens opens on April 10th, and I think. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I do think it's one of the first of its kind, if not like the biggest widespread theatrical release of an indie film of this nature, without a studio, without a distributor. So big ups to Markian and Sean and Lucy and the entire producing team for making this happen.
Well, they've invested. I mean, there is so much out there as far as promotion and just these little bits that have been, again, really interesting for me to watch, trying to piece it all together. And so I'm curious for you, like, what really drew you to want to be involved in this project?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, it was probably November of 2024 or 3 even when the script first came my way. And I knew the filmmaker, I knew Markian, I knew of Sean, I knew Lucy kind of and I really loved their work, and I think that's such a big thing, is being excited to work with particular people. Um and I knew that they were responsible for, I mean, we all came from the theater as well. So I knew them from the Vancouver theater scene. And I was excited to see what they were going to do in the film space. And I loved the script right away. I thought it was really well written. I thought it was a really interesting and unique story. I loved the challenge that it presented. I have three brothers, so this being about a girl searching for her missing brother was really easy for me to connect to that right away. I'm really close with all three of my brothers and my brother-in-law, so I like to say I have four brothers.
Yeah.
Um, but if any of them went missing without answers, I think I would be left in pieces on the floor. So exploring a character that kind of galvanizes that grief to go after something was really exciting to me. And I auditioned for the role of Tara, and I did. I don't normally do this. Usually, the audition process, it's so like blue screen, well lit, everything, and I just knew that this character needed something else. I didn't want to look, I did not want to wear any makeup. I like made sure I had not slept the night before. Like I really wanted to feel like I hadn't showered, just like a really someone who doesn't have time to care about themselves and what they look like and how they'd present themselves. So I actually shot my audition as though I was doing an interview for a true crime documentary. And luckily, my husband is a very talented DP. So I was like, honey, get the lights out. We're going to the studio. We got something to do.
Yeah.
And being the wonderful man he is, he said, yes, okay. And and I remember watching it and being like, the lighting looks great. I look like I'm coming undone. I think this is what they want. And I mean, you never really know what filmmakers are looking for. That's what I felt the character needed. And so I sent it off and then got a call back and did a really cool live kind of Zoom callback with Markian, and we did a scene together, and there was like a lot of improvisation, and pretty soon after that I found out that I got the part. And it was really one of those roles that like I it doesn't happen often, but you're like, this is mine. I know how to play this. I know that I will play this part. Which it's cool to kind of to now be so many years later on the other side of it with a big release. Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
That's amazing. Markian mentioned that, I know you said there's a script, but Markian mentioned there was an enormous amount of improvisation and
Yeah.
that was something that he really enjoyed playing off of with you. So did you know going into it that level of improv was going to be there? Or was it something that, you kind of found out as you were doing it and you're like, yeah, let's go for it?
Yeah, that's great. I did know, and I think especially even in the callback, it was made very evident to me that what they were going after was something real, 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 not an ounce of, we didn't want to sniff any acting out, like no performance, really real. And so to that, and we had the conversation of if something doesn't feel right in your mouth to say it in the way that you would say it. And then right from the jump, that was kind of established. And that's so cool because it makes for immediate trust. If they are going to trust me as an actor to alter the words that they've written, that instills in me immediate trust in, wow, they must really know what they're going after and be confident enough in the whole entire scope of this film that they would allow that to happen. So as time went on, we of course we some things we didn't improvise everything. Like the script was fantastic, so we did want to lean on what was there. But if something wasn't working, or if we wanted to make changes in the moment, Markian and I would just kind of discuss, and Sean as well, where are we going with this scene? What needs to happen? And we'd have a little conversation, and then we'd dive into the scene in character and just kind of see where we went from there.
So, some people that are watching or listening may not know that you do have a background other than just the acting side of it. You've done some directing, things
Mhm.
like that. So, how did that experience play into this project?
I think in any time I step on set as an actor, I have my director brain kind of like on mute in the background, but it's always there. I think that just it gives hopefully a nice level of understanding and deep respect and gratitude to what everyone is doing on the other side of the camera and what it takes and the decision making that goes into telling a really complex and leveled story. So, as with anything, I'm grateful for that background, and then specifically this because I am kind of playing a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Um, that especially, some ironically I had been on in that part of Vancouver Island before shooting an actual documentary that I was directing. So there there's kind of some shorthand. There's a couple of scenes where, just seeing the way that Tara interacts with the camera or the crew or walking onto a grip van confidently enough and picking out what she needs. Those were, little life skills that I had in my back pocket that felt easy enough to play and bring to this character.
So, you play Tara. Tara is really driven throughout the film to figure out this mystery. So, what do you think keeps her going in this story?
I think it's love and this love for her brother and this desire to just see him one more time. I think that there's not many universal feelings in the world, but I think grief is one of them, and I think longing is one of them. Longing to just have that one more conversation with a loved one. I know I've had that with people that I've lost, and thinking like if this happened to one of my brothers, I would go to the ends of the earth to find out what happened to them and to get some answer or some form of justice. So that hunger and that obsession, which starts as a deep love-filled curiosity and kind of spirals out of control when Tara is not able to get the answers that she so desires. So it's kind of like the danger of sustained and kind of grief without closure, really.
Yeah. Do you have a moment filming, looking back, that you're really proud of the work that you guys did? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but
Yeah, there really are, and it's so cool to it doesn't always happen because some actors are so I mean I myself I can be quite critical of my own work and there's always a certain point during a project where you're like, is this working? What am I doing? Do I know how to do this? Um, but yeah, there's a scene in particular. There's a few. One I'll name. Um, there's a scene that takes place in a parking lot, and we did it a few times. I think we did it maybe twice, and um, it's a moment where I'm able to watch the film and I can feel empathy for this person. So there's like a distancing where I can watch it and see what Tara is going through without my critical actor brain on. So I consider that a win. I think Markian and I are really connected in that scene, and I think it's a cool turning point for the film. Um, but it's definitely it's a piece of work that I'm proud of.
so would you say that this is like high intensity, like we're going to be on the edge of our seats the whole time? Like, what's that feeling that we're going to feel as we're watching it?
It's being described as kind of it's a slow burn, I would say. It depends where you put yourself, which kind of box of audience you put yourself
Okay.
in. you're a
Okay.
horror fan, I would say it is a very slow burn until the end. And if you are a true crime fan, I think it is gripping, and a tasty mystery.
Yeah.
And if you are neither of those fan groups, I think that you will be on the edge of your seat. And I think the score, we have an incredible score from Geophonic. They're an amazing group of composers, and the score really heightens the edge of your seatness of the film, and the edit as well. There's a couple of little jump scare moments. Nothing wild, but just, keeps
Yeah.
you a little bit engaged. I think it's a film that engages you from start to finish. And you kind of get on the roller coaster, and we'll see you in 90 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah. So, what do you think will surprise people most about this movie?
Hmm. I think I think people, well, I hope that people are surprised by just while it is a thriller, I hope people are surprised by it being an examination of a family and of a sister and her love for her brother, and the examination of a relationship between two friends, Tara and Markian, that go on this incredible adventure. I hope that people are surprised by it being so much more than a found footage horror film. I think we've made something that, yes, scares you at the end, but I think stands the test of time from a really solid storytelling perspective.
So, I've heard some chatter for those that have seen it because it did release a little bit earlier. I know you guys were at a premiere in Vancouver and it's
Yes.
been in a few theaters. I've heard a little bit of chatter about the ending.
Hmm.
Is this going to surprise us?
Yes. I think
Okay.
about my sweet Hearties watching the ending, and I'm like, I love you. Buckle up. Um, yes, the ending is going to surprise you, especially because you kind of watch the film the whole time, and you really get into this groove of it being kind of like a mockumentary. So when you're used to having that taste of a genre, and then all of a sudden it starts to turn into something else,
Yeah.
I think the ending will be surprising, specifically a big surprise at the last 3 minutes or so.
Okay.
I've seen lots of this.
Well, and
I need to do that
congratulations.
sometimes.
There's several awards out there already. Buzz for you as the actress, several awards. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's going to be fun to see how that all plays out. So, if someone's on the fence about watching, what would you tell them?
Woo! Okay, if someone's on the fence about watching, I would say bring a friend, hold their hand, close your eyes when you need to. But I would say it would just mean so much for people to support this indie film. And I think that independent film is having a really exciting time, especially this is like a fully Canadian indie. And the fact that we're able to get where we were just speaks to there are people out there that are craving independent films made by regular people. And that support is already being felt. And if we can continue to get people out to the theater, that just opens up so many more doors to other filmmakers who are hoping to do something in the same way. There's so many amazing films that do a festival circuit, and then filmmakers are kind of left with their hands up, like, what do we do now? Where does this go? And I think movies are meant to be seen on a big screen with people. It's a collective experience, and we can't lose those as a culture. It's so important that we experience art collectively and in tandem with others. And even if you don't love it, like it's an experience you've gone through with a community. And I think we really need more of that. So
Yeah.
if you're on the fence, I would say please come. And if you need to leave, I'll give you a moment. I'll give you a moment when to leave. You can leave. You can leave when Tara opens a tent with a headlamp on. I would say you may leave.
Interest, look
You'll
at
never know
you
what happens. But this is for my like this is for my people who
taking care of it.
yes, are consider a horror when like
Yes.
little Jack gets diabetes, which is
Yes.
horrific in its own right, but a very different kind of horror. So that's to that audience.
Well, and I mentioned this at the beginning, but this is wide audience. Like I pulled up local my theaters, and it is in two of the theaters that are literally 10 minutes down the road from me. So
Fun
I
fact.
promise most of you out there, there is going to be a theater, unless you live out in the middle of nowhere. There's a theater near you
There
that
is,
plays
and you can
Matthew
find it.
Nichols.
Go to huntingmatthewnichols.com. There's a link right there to get tickets. And I think it's even, I don't know the fancy like tech location word for it, but it will give you the closest
Yeah.
theaters to where you happen to
Type in
be.
your zip code and it'll tell you.
Yes,
There you
exactly.
go. Okay, do you have a few minutes to talk when calls the heart?
Always.
Okay. So we got a fantastic surprise. The second half of the season, we were so fortunate to get to talk with you, several of us. I think about episode five. Episode five hadn't happened yet.
What
We
did we talk?
had
Yes.
the friends moment that happened.
Oh, right, of course.
So, and we are going to get to the finale, but I'm curious, how much of the Friends moment was actually on the paper versus how much you and Chris kind of played in that moment? Because I was surprised, honestly, that they brought that call back in, but it was a lot of fun. And I think it was perfect for Edie and Lucas.
Well, that was all Peter DeLuise. That was a Peter, of course, has Peter written all over it.
Yeah.
And he saw the opportunity. We couldn't not take it, of course, with his, his friend's history. So, um, I think Peter, this was a day, maybe like a week earlier, we were in the makeup trailer, and just chatting. And he was like, okay, listen. So we had the scripts for that episode. And he explained what we wanted to do. And we were just like howling with laughter. And I think Chris and I were both like, does this take us out of it? Do we want to bring it's because it's a very inside baseball, if you know, you know, kind of thing. So we talked about it and then we were like, no, this is fun. Let's play into this. And like that's just the kind of director that Peter is, that he committed to it. And I think ultimately it worked really well. And I think it felt natural. I mean, Edie would say pivot. They were going up a 90-degree angle with a giant desk. So in watching it, it didn't feel out of place at all. It actually just felt like a really sweet little nod. So,
And it played perfect, it falling on him, her
oh
being
my gosh, wasn't
concerned
that
for
stunt
him.
amazing?
It was fantastic. I'm like,
Oh,
I
I
mean, you wanted
really
to
like
see
that
how
thing.
all of it was shot, that it played
Yes.
out so well.
I know. I wish there was kind of a like I think I have a behind the scenes video. I should try to dig it up. I think well because I was filming, I must have it. Um the stunt because we did obviously shot it in so many different pieces to put
Yeah.
it together, but there was one moment where I was off camera and I was able to just watch Chris getting,
Yeah.
slammed by a desk.
Yeah.
Um and he really sold it to the point where it was like every time, like, I think he really got hurt that one. I think it really hit
It
him.
was so good.
I know. It was
Well,
good
and I
point.
don't know if you know this or not, but they bring in the classic. We've got bring in Fernando, we're going to bring in the ex-fiance, that classic trope. And talking with showrunner Joy Gregory, they have not ruled out bringing Fernando back next season.
They haven't
So
ruled it out.
they haven't ruled it out.
Hey, so he might be coming back.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's coming back for Edie, but I
Oh,
think that,
that would be tricky,
I mean,
especially based off what we
it
saw.
may be a long shot, but it is not a closed door. And I
Well,
know
we
that,
love Juan is fantastic, and as an actor, he would be such an amazing addition to the crew. So I'm definitely team bring back Fernando. We need another horse whisperer in town.
it'll be interesting to see how. I think that they really liked, once it was kind of a closed door for Edie, the whole silent movie moment with
Oh, I love
Faith was
that.
a little bit. And I
Oh,
don't know, maybe they're just wanting, maybe it's time for Faith to have somebody. And so they were keeping that just open a little bit. But
I know I'm really curious to see what they do with that. It's just such a fun time of year with, the show being done and us starting to look towards shooting the next season. So start
yeah,
to imagine all of these possibilities for these people. It's exciting.
Martin Wood, when I talked with him, I asked him with the phone conversations that Edie and Lucas had. He said sometimes if the actors are both on set, they can kind of do that back and forth. In this case, you guys were not. So
No.
somebody is reading, how in the world do you create? I mean, it was the chemistry was there, and you're talking to somebody off camera. How did you guys pull that off? Because those moments, and I know again, Joy was hesitant after she did that. She's like, how do we have them apart? It worked so well. It was so good.
I think it just speaks to the writing and I love when writers and showrunners take those swings and because it says to me that they trust us and to be trusted as an actor is such a cool feeling. And Joy's just fantastic and I I loved doing those telephone scenes because you're in your imagination and someone else was reading the lines off camera, but I think it's look, we've been Lucas and Edie have been mining this relationship now for 2 years, and to have that happen, in kind of the latter half of this last season, it felt like we had enough history to kind of, I think if we had done a phone scene, episode 3 of season 12, it maybe wouldn't have had that same type of gravitas or chemistry. But I think that we'd built enough shared history that it was easy to kind of go to that place and we had a shorthand of how these characters would have communicated to each other over the phone and like the looks that
Hmm.
they couldn't see. I love phone scenes as an actor because you're saying one thing,
Yeah.
but your face can be saying something completely different, giving the audience clues as to how you're really feeling. Because we do that all the time, right? When we're on the phone and we can be rolling our eyes and being like, "Yep, that's fine," and the person hears that's fine, but if there's a camera on me, the audience sees it's not fine. Um, so yeah, I thought that was just such a delicious thing, and I loved the way it turned out.
So good, like you said, that it allowed them to have those moments where we see what's really going on with them. At the same
Yeah.
time, it allowed us to see how Edie and Lucas are really good together when they work together, which is such a fun dynamic for them. Like they've got that romantic side, but they're really good together when they're working through a solution, a problem together as well, which is,
Yeah, I thought that was such a good callback to kind of how their relationship started too. And in this place where we might not be talking to each other, relationship wise, but we at the end of the day, we both care about our work and we both care about doing the right thing for our community. And that's something that we can put our personal differences aside to get to work. And also you
Mhm.
just see how Edie kind of lights up when she's needed for her brain. Yeah.
Yeah. I did ask Martin. I was like, Edie didn't have the glasses on. And I'm like, and he goes, it was just a camera thing. I'm like, I'm just going to make up my own. I'm going to make up my own story.
I was shocked. I had no idea. I came to set with the glasses. They're like, okay, take the glasses off. And I was like, my life jacket. Ah! But it was sweet. And it made sense. She's by herself. She can't possibly wear these glasses all the time. Like, does she sleep in the glasses? I don't think so. So we'll see. Maybe that opened up a possibility. We had glasses off and we had hair half down
Oh,
this
yeah. Oh, yeah.
season. So
And
he might be coming
Lucas's
back from New York a whole new woman.
Lucas's vest came off again that night
I
during the
know.
all-nighter too.
These people
So
are coming undone. I know.
things are getting crazy.
It's getting crazy. Yes.
So in your mind, I know Edie says to Lucas she's back because it's kind of time to help with the insurance claims and all of that. In your mind, is that really why Edie was coming back? Like, what finally pushed her to come back?
I think it's a bit of both. I think she does, feel a responsibility to help these people, and it's something that she's undeniably good at and has the skill set. So or in her mind, I was thinking, it's not fair for Edie to not help people because she is afraid of facing this one person.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I think, of course, there is also, I think the conversation over the phone stuck with her. And I think she had a lot of time by herself away from Hope Valley and Lucas to think about it. And I know that coming back was definitely a final, the last straw kind of thing. And it went, I think, the way that she wanted. So I hope she's happy she came back.
Was she ready when she came back, or did it take something like the magic trick and the comment that he made? Because we see, Edie kind of light up when he talks about, being ready to move on. Was she
Yeah.
ready before she came back, or was that kind of
I
the,
think a bit. I think Edie's really stubborn too. I
yeah,
think she's set in her ways, and I think she's stubborn. I think she tried to give him opportunities, and he probably tried. It's just there was so much miscommunication. But when you're hurt, it's easy to lean into that stubbornness, and to kind of like live in that comfort of having been wronged. Um, and so I think the stepping down was something, and sticking, and her really seeing, no, this is the person that I think he is, and having that announcement being made in public and not just something that's communicated between the two of them really spoke a lot to his character, which ultimately, finalized her decision with, yeah, this is somebody that I could see myself building a life with,
yeah.
so.
To the point that she approaches him at the piano, which was a nice surprise for us. We didn't know Lucas could play the piano.
Guy, he's just got tricks up his sleeve, literally, figuratively.
So loved that whole dynamic, the sitting down at the piano, the conversations. Can you kind of walk us through that moment again? How you guys were directed, the conversations that you guys had about playing it, because it was the best way to end with those two.
It was so sweet. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really lovely and satisfying ending. I mean, shooting it at the piano technically was like a little, just required a bit of finessing and blocking, and always with the glasses, trying to find where we are compromising the least. The offering of the pie I thought was really sweet. We did have to, Kristen gave us the direction of like, just eat the pie. Just
Yeah.
eat the pie like a normal person. Because I find I was getting it and I'm like, I don't want to, truthfully, Chris and I both just didn't want to have to eat so much pie. We knew we were going to do this many times. And we was probably after lunch, and we were probably just like already, lunched and craftied out. So then we forgot we would have to be eating pie. So, but of course, the direction was s- so smart and obvious. And of course, just eat the pie as you would. But yeah, I thought that was sweet, and it gave them like a little mutual thing to do together. And it kind of, it was well written and obviously well directed. And I think we were all, Chris and I were on the same page with what we wanted this scene to be. And it felt pretty seamless. We kind of had the dance, and we did a little choreography of like, the stuff's going to happen here, and then you're going to get up, and then this. And once we had the blocking in place, we just kind of let ourselves go for it, and live in the moment, as long as we were hitting those spots, and got to that grand finale, and it felt really easy. Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really natural. And
And Edie gets the award for making the move.
yes, she does. Heck yeah, Edie. She said, enough of this nonsense. I'm going for it. I loved that in the script. I loved that
Oh
she
yeah.
decided to
All of her hesitation, and now it's like, okay, I'm in.
and you see that moment, or at least I tried to convey that second of like, oh my gosh, you're saying these things. What am I doing? Oh, I'm kissing you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
sweet.
so there, I loved also that Lucas says, "Is that appropriate to like now I'm going with you?" Because it's
I
like
know, such a gentleman.
now that we've crossed this hurdle, I'm just going to go where you
Oh,
go, which I thought
yes.
was
Exciting. I know, I'm curious to see how, like, did they end up going together? I don't know. I think we'll find out soon enough when we start shooting 14, but I don't I'm so curious as to.
I was going to ask you if you what you were most curious about, like
I'm really curious. Did they spend the summer in New York? I mean, I'm sure they did. And what did they get up to? And are they taking any of that back to Hope Valley in the new season? I have no answers, only curiosities. So
yeah,
we'll see.
here we go.
Here we go.
Favorite part of playing the Lucas and Edie dynamic this season?
Oh, I think just getting to carry on with that banter, but allow the wall of defensiveness to kind of come down. I think we saw less of kind of like the sharpness of Edie, and we saw some more softness. And I really appreciated that. It's cool to start there because you have this kind of this wit and this jousting that we've established. So we know that's always going to be there between these characters. But I was really excited to see the other side of that and what that will evolve into. If these characters are going to be together, it can't just be, fiery and spicy little quips back and forth. We have
Mhm.
to get to the deeper stuff. And I think we started to see some of that this year, and I'm excited to keep moving in that direction.
Well, I loved even at the end when Elizabeth does the monologue and they try to, capture little moments from each of them and the Edie and Lucas at the table playing the cards and
Yeah.
just, I mean, no conversation at all. And it was perfect. It was like, this is who they are right now. And even the banter is going on sitting there and playing cards together. So,
Yeah, yeah, it felt really satisfying to have that kind of come full circle from something that was like their little thing in an earlier season.
yeah. You also got to have a few moments with other cast as far as, outside of the Edie and Lucas storyline, but just some other moments with the girls and stuff. So is there anything that you are hoping to explore more in season 14 in that realm?
Yeah, great question. I loved getting to work with other people. Obviously as time goes on, I've been so lucky to like make friends on this show. Everyone's just so awesome and we have so much fun um off camera. So getting to being in a scene with other people means you get to like hang out with them all day. So that's been really, really fun. Yeah, I'd be curious to see who Edie befriends on a serious level, and it'd be really nice to see some different scenes and adventures with some of the other Hope Valley gals. I think there's definitely some space for that, and I'm curious about, if this Faith and Fernando thing is meant to be. Edie knows Fernando quite well, and she can deliver the tea on Fernando
Mhm,
to Miss Faith
mhm.
if need be. So I'd be curious to see how that relationship kind of pans out.
Yeah, that'll be fun if that happens.
If
I
that
mean, I
happens, I have
wonder,
no idea.
I think I mentioned this when we talked on the junket. It's like, Edie's going to need to have that person to talk
Mhm.
to about whatever's going on with Edie and Lucas. So I'm curious who that might end up being. I mean, if we go the Florence and Molly route, I mean, is it going to really stay a secret? I don't know. So
I know. I know. Are you asking who I think that would be or who? Yeah.
I
I,
don't know. I don't know that we know
I
yet, do
don't
we?
know yet either. I feel like we need to have a few more scenes where we do kind of see her
Yeah.
in the town. I know she kind of confided um in May and Faith in that scene.
Little.
So
Mhm.
maybe there's a little, maybe that was the
There's
start
a
of
little seed here and there's a little seed
there's a
here.
couple seeds in
Mhm.
a couple places. So yeah, I don't know, but I love everyone. So I'd be so happy to work with anyone in on a closer scale.
That's going to be fun to watch. So, okay, so aside from Hunting Matthew Nichols, When Calls the Heart season 14 later this year, do you have anything else that we need to be keeping our eyes on right now?
Let's see what's going on. There's a couple of things. There's a project that I've directed that's going to be hitting the festival circuit. So festivals are tricky, and sometimes you can't talk about them until they talk about them. So um, I'll keep the
Follow
world
your
on
Instagram
the
account,
socials.
right?
Yeah, follow Miramac if you're interested in any of the other work that I'm doing. But yeah, definitely hopping into the director's chair for a bit, and then shooting shooting a film at the end of the month, and yes, then getting back to Hope Valley. So can't wait. Exciting
Yeah,
time.
it's going to be great. Okay, well, I want to remind everybody that Hunting Matthew Nichols is premiering in theaters April 10th. Go get on the website now so that you can type in your zip code, figure out where it's airing. Miranda, thank you so much for chatting with me. I'm so excited, first of all, to see this project, but also getting the scoop on the end of When Calls the Heart season 13. And best of luck to you in all of this so much.
Thank you. It's always such a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for being so supportive of the film.